Hello, my name is Lila Corwin Berman, and I'm chair of the Academic Council of the American Jewish Historical Society. Now, it won't surprise you to hear that I care deeply about books. I think of books as my teachers, and they also in many ways mark time for me. For example, this one, Family Properties by Beryl Satter, I remember that I read on an airplane. I'm pretty sure it was 2010. I know I had a toddler, or maybe two, at home, and so it was a rare moment of quiet for me. The book is about housing politics in post-war Chicago, and it tells a story about predatory lending and about the ways that Black Americans were exploited at the hands of the real estate system and market. And the author in the book really instructed me in urban history and urban politics in many ways, about how Jews played a role in the history of real estate in the United States. But it also brings an incredible sensitivity to the kind of depth of emotion that history can capture. Mark Satter, who's one of the main characters in the book, is in fact the author's father. And he is really a kind of hero of the book in many ways, but also a tragic figure who operates in this system of real estate in Chicago, understanding how unfair it is to many African Americans, but also profiting from it. And in the middle of the book, when he dies of heart failure, I remember my eyes welled up while I was sitting on that airplane. And I was really struck by how history can capture such complicated dynamics about families, about grief, about power, about politics, about oppression. I went back to this book really recently when a colleague and I were having a conversation about how history can write about emotion, because this book was such an example for me. And I realized I really wanted to know the books that mattered most to my colleagues. And I started to ask them the basic question, what are you reading now? And out of that question grew this list, this new feature on the AJHS website called What We're Reading Now, a title that owes some debt of gratitude to the New York Times for the inspiration. And the list is really what the title says. We asked a group of scholars of American Jewish history and American Jewish experience about the books that preoccupied them, the books that mattered most to them, that they kept on thinking about after they read them, books that changed the way they thought about teaching, or books that they thought had really moved public conversations, perhaps in contentious ways. Now, many of you will remember that the AJHS website had a list of books called Essential Readings in American Jewish History. Never fear, that list is not gone. You can click on a link and get to it. But we think that this list is going to provide something really interesting for you as you think about the books that you want to edify you, that you want to move you, that you want to mark time for you. So take a look at this list, and you'll find, if you crack open many of these books, and if you're a close reader of footnotes, that archival collections from the AJHS actually provide the grounding for many of the stories that are told in these books of history. And we as historians rely on things like the Gratz family papers and a whole slew of Jewish institutional papers that are kept and made accessible to us at the American Jewish Historical Society. So peruse this list, find something that looks like it could move you, and start your reading journey.